All right, we're going to start working on Black Pearl again. Just got the air-to-water intercooler in from Chisel, super excited. We're going to put a slight pause on the 55 and we're going to focus on the procharged F2 for Black Pearl. Also, we're going to show you the teardown and show you the recipe of a 650 horse pump gas street and strip combo. Stay tuned. So today we are not working on the 55. Today we are working on Black Pearl. Finally got some stuff in, excited about that for sure. And this I just got delivered yesterday. As you guys can see, I haven't even opened it up yet, but this is my air-to-water intercooler and chill tank from Chisel out in Florida. If you guys don't know who Chisel is, I'll put that up. And Steve Morris and Kyle Morris both got me into Chisel, introduced me to Robert, and that's who does all their intercoolers and stuff. And I've had him build me one previous, an air-to-air, and I thought he's the man to go to for the air-to-water. So I'm going to unbox this thing, and we're going to get ideas figured out of where we're going to put it. How I had him design this was that we were going to put it in the front nose, and it's not going to sit upright. It's actually going to sit flat. So once we unbox it, I'll explain a little bit better. So let me grab a good old handy knife, and we'll cut this sucker open. So let me go find one. Out of the box, and here's what we got. There is my air-to-water intercooler. This is good for around 2,000 to 2,200 horse. From Robert was telling me that, so we're going to be fine with what I'm going to be pushing out of the, the F2 setup and that thing. I'm not going to be able to make that kind of horsepower. But looking at the welds, looking at everything he did, I'm very, very happy with it. This is the measurements that we took, the size I was looking for on this thing. Threw on some mounting tabs for me. And also one of the requests was, besides having, these are 16 AN water lines, I have it, you can see, goes right through. I have them on the top and the bottom. So there, I have them on the bottom. So if I have a problem with this fitting and I need that, we'll just call these the inlets. If I have that flipped to the other side, well, then I got the same fittings poking through. This is the way that it's going to fit in the car. It is not going to be flipped up sideways. It won't be flipped up this way, kind of facing you here. It's going to be laying flat, just like this. Why? Okay. If I put that up this way, then I'm going to literally be blocking the radiator, and I'm already having a big enough time with keeping this thing cool. So that right there was how I wanted it to lay, and it's going to be, you can see through everything. I carved out that whole lower section is completely closed off on a Camaro. I carved all that out. All the bracing's gone. So if you look inside there, all of that's gone. That tube that you see there is just going from the frame, holding that lower section in, because I need the front end of the car. I need this portion of the car to still be, nice and tight. So I kept that off that great big monster brace. I probably pulled off, I'd say 60 pounds off the front nose of the car. So in that whole front section right there, from there to there, that's where the intercooler is going to fit. So I also had to take off my little previous episode. I made what was called the air funnel, and these fit on both sides. They fit pretty much like that on both sides. And what it did was, I'll show you, and it'll probably make sense to you guys. You see that great big old gap you got right in there, that huge monster gap? Well, when air's coming in from here, from the radiator, hey, there's my fingers, hello, coming in from there, and I'm rushing the air through, well, it gets caught. It'll go that way, it'll go that way. I need it directed to go this way. So I made these panels to direct the air to go in. And did it work? Absolutely it worked. From doing that, and I made a little lower air pan. And doing that, I dropped temperatures, I would say steadily 8 to 10 degrees. some of you guys might be like, oh, that's nothing. When you got a car that's just constantly 205, 210, you get stuck in traffic and she starts creeping up a little higher, you'll take 10 degrees. I mean, I did. So after I ended up making that stuff, it really did help. With the 496, it wasn't super terrible. It still would creep. But when I put the 555 in it, I was really fighting temperatures. I have a nice Champion radiator in it. I have a GM, I think it's off a Cobalt. Might be a Cobalt fan. Really nice fan. I mean, it pulls better. We'll get into that. We'll get into that later. But all of that stuff works, so I didn't want to take it off. But for how wide this booger is, these outlets here are sticking out farther than what these guys here were. So now I got those out. We're going to fit it in. Hopefully everything will work out. I have a feeling I'm going to, I'm not a feeling. I know I'm going to have to do some trimming. All right, we got her in. It does fit. It's really, really tight. Here, let me get up a little bit here. That's right against the radiator support. And I don't even know if I got a finger. I don't even have a finger width in there. But that's the exact size that me and Chisel were talking about. So now that's the hard part, is fitting it through here. You can see that rod that I have that's holding that front nose up. I got to work around that. There's that same rod right there, but I have a good amount of room here. I am going to start carving up the radiator support. On this lower section, over here, it's blank all the way up to about here, and then down. I'm going to carve out basically everything that I don't need there, over here as well. It's probably all the way up to here in that whole section. So I'm going to carve out everything that I don't need to be able to get the 4-inch charge tubes on. The thing is, you can see where my outlet is. That's going to go to the blow-through carburetor side. Well, again, like I say, Schuler's over there. He ended up making up this thing that we could do kind of a dummy up. This is a 12x9, which is the size of the chill tank. And let me get this in here so you guys get an idea. I'm going to try to use those holes that used to hold the inner fender well in. I'm going to try to have a brace off of that for the tank and then over. So I'm like right to there. So you can see I'm right on top of the frame. One of the things Schuler mentioned was, could I notch the frame and then take the tank and drop the tank down? I don't know. And the tank is 9 inches tall. So I'm trying to do this here. That's 9 inches right there. So right there to right there. Now I can drop it, but I need to drop this top section. I'd have to drop it like 4 inches. So I'd have to have the tank way down there. I don't know if I can do it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, I'm not sure if I can make that fit. So it's going to be a lot of, oh, let me toss that there. So it's going to be a lot of kind of trial and error fitting. The big thing was getting the intercooler in and getting that in for sure. And I know that's in. I have to make whatever braces to, make a shelf for it, or what my mounting brackets. That I'm not worried about. It'll come off the radiator support, and the radiator support is it's like double walled. You can see in here, this right here. So I'm going to brace off of this guy, off of this, and it's that bottom section, and that stuff is pretty sturdy. We're tearing in, getting the rotating assembly out, and just going to get moving on that. But like I said before, I was going to tell you guys exactly what's in it. It's a, well, here, let me pop you off. That way you guys can actually see what's going on. I'll show you all the bits and pieces here. So, studded 2-bolt, which works out fine. It's a factory GM 5140 forged crank. Eagle H-beam rods in there. And then just a set of SRP 10.5 to 1 slugs. I mean, it's a very basic, easy recipe, but it works really, really well. The camshaft that's in it's Lenati. I'll call it a street and strip solid roller. It's 260, 268, 685, 685 on a 110. And, you know, if you want to put some nitrous to it, you could put nitrous down that cam. It'd be fine. But it's not a super wild cam by any means. And then cylinder head wise, these are a set of Dart Pro 1 325s that I did what I would consider my economy port job on. I'll show you guys the cylinder heads another time and kind of what I did. We're going to do a little bit more work to the heads. And we got one of Patrick's Pro Systems carbs. They work good as always. All Scorpion, shaft mounted, or not shaft mounted rockers, stud girdle, Scorpion rockers. Super Victor intake. I did a little bit of work to it, nothing crazy. I just reworked this top section, but I didn't do anything to the dividers. And then it's just gasket matched. Just did a nice, easy, you know, gasket match job to the cylinder heads. That's it. I mean, that's the whole combination. And I mean, we're, you know, mid to upper 600s with this thing. And it ran great. I mean, she runs fantastic. So now doing the 496, you know, the cylinder heads I'm going to go through and we'll probably just open them up. I'm not going to do a full port job on them. I'm just going to clean things up a little bit. The intake, I am going to clean that up better than what it is. So that's going to probably get more work than anything else. And it'll still be about 10.5 to 1. For the pistons that he found, a set of Wiseco Protrues will end up being like 10.6, 10.8, depending on head gasket. But he's going to go a 4340 crank, H-beam rods. I mean, it's going to be a better stout bottom end. And if he does want to put some giggle juice down it, I mean, he could do all day long. It'll handle 250. You know, you could probably go to 300 if he really, really wanted to, but you know, it'll handle 250 all day long. So technically, I mean, this thing could be 1,000 horse. But at that point, you know, if you're running a 2-bolt main block like this, you know, you got to worry about things wobbling and moving. You know, I got friends that, you know, have taken 2-bolt main 454 blocks, and I made 1,100. I made 1,200 and all that. That crank is wobbling. To me, you know, you start going beyond about 900, and it's the RPM too. I mean, if we're spinning this thing 7,500, 8,000 RPM, stuff's moving, man. I mean, even with where we're at now, it's like this is longevity. Yeah. But if he just plays with nitrous, he'll be fine. You know, if it's just at the track every once in a while, he'll be fine. So we're going to start tearing into this thing. All right, so pistons are out and everything looks good. Looking into the bores, keep in mind this thing only has, you can see a little bit of wear right in here where the skirts were kind of pulling on there. Nothing terrible, and I mean you can still see the cross stitching and everything. That right there, I'm just going to use a flat wheel, and wow, instead of a dingleberry, I'm just going to use flat stones on a drill. I'll be able to take that out. All the pistons look good. You know, bearings look good. Again, I mean, there's only like 1,500 miles on these, and you can see the skirts. I mean, the skirts look nice. There's a little bit of scuffing, but that's nothing. So I'm very happy with how everything turned out. So yeah, at that point, we were going to get the crankshaft out, but the harmonic balancer puller broke. I'm not naming anybody.
Yeah.
But Nick's got one up on order.
Yeah, got a new one coming in overnight.
So we'll get that up and running. But at that point, he's going to come in during the week and he's going to pull the harmonic balancer off, yank his crank. Going to yank the crank. Nobody's going to be here, so you know, don't worry about that. And he'll get that pulled out, and then the rotating assembly is going up for sale. So any of you guys looking for a good full rotating assembly from the ATI to the TCI flex plate, 5140 forged steel GM. Like I said, these are Eagle. Oh, H-beam rods. These are a 6.1 rod. They're not the 6.3, 8.5 rod, but Eagles. Like I said, SRPs. You know, all good stuff in that sense. Holes that I cut. There is the section that I chopped out. So that is pretty much to the bottom edge of the headlight bucket. I have plenty of room to the turn blinker, all that stuff, I'm okay there. But that just created a huge section. So now you can see I have all of that area now. I think I'm gonna have to get rid of these rods. That's what's holding up, like I said, that front section here. And that's what holds the nose. That's what gives the nose support. So I have to have something pushing that piece in, but I can just relocate it, because right now you can see where it's right in line where I want to put my inlets or my charge tubes. So at that point, one of the things I was thinking about too, where's the cardboard? It's behind me, haha. This trusty cardboard that Schuler made up, like I said, it's 12 by 9. I just don't have the 9 going up and down. But what I can do is go, now I have 9 going up and down, but it's 12 deep. We're looking at doing this. If I can take it and I can sink it inside here, I mean, I could put that thing all the way into here. Well, then I was looking at it going, if I can sink this cold tank in, you know, and even if it's 12 inches here, I'm so close to the tire. You see where I am at the tire right there. But if I can get into here, I have a whole lot more room. I don't know where the lid is, so I need to know where the lid is on that thing, so I don't know until I actually get it. And then the outlets I can actually have going on that inside edge out there, and then from that, you know, they would trace in through this inner edge, and I just go right there, and I just go right there. So everything would be inside here. You wouldn't see any of the fill lines. That's a maybe. And then what I was looking at was, I just grabbed a 4-inch tube, this guy, and going, hey, can I go above? Well, looks like I could get lucky and not drop the thing. Sorry, trying to do a couple of different things here. Aruga. But there, now I can have this right here. I still have that much room underneath it. So I can actually come down a little bit, and I have room. So I could have this side charge tube on the passenger side come up and above, which is kind of what I wanted to do, because if I have it come up and above here, it would be right here by the radiator, and then say I'm the carburetor, it comes right at the carburetor. So I got to come here, do a 90, come here, go in, and then go down into this charge tube. And then this guy over here is what's going to go into the blower, so it's going to go that way, come around. This is for my oil filter relocation, or remote oil filter, and then I can come up here, and then wherever my F2 is pointing down here, whatever, I can have it come in and swoop in and do that. So I got room over there, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to relocate those guys. Those are going to have to get out of the way. I don't want to move them, but to make things simpler, I'm going to move those. I'll rebrace those once I put the charge tubes in. It's more important getting the charge tubes in, making everything as smooth as possible, and then making brackets kind of going around the charge tubes and all that, that's nothing. So that is pretty much where I'm at right now with this whole thing. I need to get the chill tank, or the cold tank, the ice tank, whatever you guys want to call it. I got to get that to see if maybe I can take it and I can sink it in a little bit. And it feels like underneath here, hold on, I gotta move my big old butt forward. But it feels like underneath here, yeah, I have probably that much more, you know, this much more, that I can go up if need be. But that charge tube, that 4-inch is pretty much this whole section. So there's a couple of options that I have to go with. I have to get the ice tank first. I have to get that and start setting it in and getting an idea where I can put that. As soon as I get that, then the rest of this is going to lay out pretty well. Then I'd say I'm good to go. And then mounting my brackets off of there. Like I said, this is, you know, doubled here. You know, this section, this will be fine. I can come off with brackets there and then just run like just triangulate it, have a flat piece coming out and then triangulate it up this way to where this won't move. You know, it won't move. So that is what I'm going to be waiting on. So I think I got as much done as I can get done before I have all my pieces. So yeah, so that's where we're going on the black car, but it was nice to be able to actually work on the old Black Pearl and get moving a little bit farther forward. I think it's supposed to show up on like Monday or Tuesday, but with the Christmas time and all that, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't show up till the following week. But hey, it is what it is. Keep on trucking, keep on working. And for you guys, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoy yourselves out there. Keep working on your cars, keep trying to get things going for next year. And yeah, look forward to seeing you guys on another episode. And hopefully the next one you'll see parts getting for the black car. I just got a call from Steve saying that the motor's ready. So next episode we should be over at Steve's picking things up, and we'll talk to the guys, see what's going on with them. So till we meet again, have a good one.